Mariah, I made a video yesterday for you trying to do the Anapana, but when I reviewed my video later last night, I had to cancel it. It was so extremely awful and ugly, and I looked so horribly bad, and it was just such a terribly depressing video for me. And there's just no way I can, you see my haircut. I mean, it's just, and it looked worse even yesterday, and I just there's just no way I could upload a video like this. It's already really difficult for me when I see my videos, but man, it would be so nice to look good, and to really look good like that Babette, and like you, and like Leona Lewis, so people who look like that, they can do a lot for the world. They can move things towards love and peace with their looks alone. And for people who don't look good, it's awfully tough. And I'm not gonna do plastic surgery or any of that stuff, because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in invasive things into the body. So I just have to do my best. And my hair looks really bad in any form I have it. If it gets really long, then it looks like Medusa, and looks like I have snakes growing out of my hair, and they bend like this, kind of like a cartoon ear or something. And it's never worked for me my whole life like this with that hair structure. It's a really bizarre hair structure that I have. It's the most anti-hair structure that exists on earth. But anyway, I have to try to make the best out of it. I'm pretty bummed out today, and for that reason I am not able to do any Anapana instruction video. But maybe I'll do this sometime in the future. I just cried a whole lot, and I thought, so now that I cried, I don't have to cry in the video, right? So hopefully I don't have to, because it's just too depressing. But then again, if I try to make an upbeat video when I'm not upbeat, then it would come across as sick, or it would come across as awkward or weird, or something is off. It is what it is, and I have to just stick with it, basically. And so maybe I can talk a little bit about the thoughts that I woke up with today instead, because this is what it is today. So today I'm thinking about Dr. David Benatar, and the reason why I'm thinking about Dr. David Benatar is because he wrote a book about non-existence. And I have a lot of haters. I have people who want me to die, and I could feel it. I have that ability to feel it. I feel it even if I'm not on the internet and not reading their comments. I feel it during the day. I just perceive it telepathically, that all these different death wishes that they have for me. They wish me to get sick and die. They wish me to commit suicide, jump from a bridge. And they wish me horrible things, just because I am thinking differently, because I see things from a different perspective. And so when I perceive these intentions from other people, it doesn't hurt me physically. What it does is I perceive it telepathically as thought form. And then it affects my ego. And everybody has an ego, so we can kid ourselves, you know. There's no such thing as an enlightened person, as I said before. No, nobody's enlightened. And some people are more advanced than others. Some people have more control over their minds than others. Some people have practiced mindfulness. And even the advanced meditators have an ego. And I have an ego. I'm just more aware about it, you know. And so he does not have much of an ego. Ego, he's a teacher. It's not ego. He lives here to give. He's an altruist. So I love you more than myself and more than anything in the entire eternal universe. Oh. And he's my savior, and he's everything for me. My child, you know. And I've talked to people, and most people, and I think the ego is a self-defense mechanism. And so when people have been drilled with religion and with very anti-life beliefs, then their egos cling to that, and they make that their identity, basically, you know. And so every time when somebody has a new idea, particularly an idea that is the truth, that is actually reality, that's actually real, then that's very, 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 very threatening for them. The person who, the messenger of real, you know, is regarded as a real threat to the ego, because the ego has latched on to the old beliefs, you know, the old beliefs that they have been drilled with their whole lives, you know, that this anthropocentric view, you know, this putting humans on a pedestal, and this save the embryos, you know. When I'm petitioning for the whales, I hear this, save the embryos, nobody's saving the embryos. You know, it's like, what do the embryos have to do with the whales? Nothing, you know. Whales, they have embryos too. They want to live too. And the whales, they're good mothers. They are there for them. They're really, they know how to give their offspring the love. And they have a wonderful life cycle. Okay? So let's take a really close look at humanity. And this is the reason why I had 3 abortions. And I'm going to say it blatantly, straight into the camera, as I've never said it before. The reason why is because I don't want people, any being, animals are people too, I don't want any being to suffer, okay? When I adopt a dog, then I can give that dog all of my love, you know, infinite love. And the dogs are infinitely grateful to you for that. And you can give them a good life, you know. They're already there in the shelters. waiting for a home. You can give them a good life. Okay? To have sex recklessly, and to, because back then I was a reckless punk. Okay, I was drinking, smoking, taking drugs, dysfunctional, mentally ill, on pharma drugs, psychopharmaceuticals for depression, and all these neurotransmitters, serotonin and all of that stuff, horrible things that cause the organs to become degenerated, causes an emergency reaction in the body, and causes all kinds of horrible chain reactions. That's why I quit it all in 2003, because I had no other choice. I would have died if I hadn't quit it. And then I knew it was an eye-opening experience. But to have reckless children when people are dysfunctional, when people are not well, that is so incredibly bad. But I mean, to have reckless sex and get pregnant is really bad. That alone is really bad. That's very, very irresponsible. It was irresponsible of me. I was in a brain fog. I couldn't think straight. But at least then, once you get the diagnosis, yes, it's positive, then you should know, we should know what to. I know you Mariah, and I know, and all of my friends in Germany know, okay? And I know at least 10 women there that I've been friends with who had abortions, and it's nothing. It's kind of like you have a mosquito bite and you put whatever, you put zinc cream on it. That's kind of like how they regard it. It's not regarded as anything. It's more like, oh, you got the flu, you take a flu medication, or maybe you have a virus, or maybe you have a parasite, and you just take something for it. Like one time I had scabies because of the horrible people I hung out with, and then I infected others. And this one guy said he's never gonna touch women anymore. He's only gonna touch women in a diving suit from then on. And so yeah, I understood. It was pretty bad. But it's kind of like just taking care of a parasite. It's like the embryo is a parasite, and you take care of it. So you get rid of it. It's nothing. In Europe, it's nothing. Then I come to the United States at age 26, and I was like, first I was at the center, and most people there were Europeans again, because they all came to Arjanov to do primal therapy to mess up their lives some more. But it was kind of like a completely different society in that center society that I hung out with. But then a couple of years later, I started to venture out and meet other people outside the center, and just daily routines, brought me across other people. And so at some point I met my first fundamentalist on the street, an old woman who I had a bicycle accident. So I flew into someone's door. It was the driver's fault, and I was all shaken up and beaten up and bruised up and crying. And instead of giving me some comfort or telling me, do you need help, or should I call someone, she said to me, "You need to repent to Jesus." And that was my first encounter with a complete wacko, crazy fundamentalists. I've never seen anything like this before in my whole life. Never seen anything like this in Germany. I don't even think they have those there. I have met Christians in Germany, but they don't talk like this at all. They're very humble. They keep that very much to their own lifestyle. It's like that's their decision, belief, philosophy, whatever, and they never force that on someone else. At least those few that I have met in Germany, yeah, they were very nice people. And so I come across this extremely crazy, sick, schizophrenic 80-year-old woman with bleach blonde hairdo, looked like a tower, coming after me, telling me to repent to Jesus. Ooh, it's like I don't even know where to start. I was like, okay, let me take my bike and bliss out. And I just went straight home, wobbling home, and taking care of my own wounds, basically, psychologically and physically, because nobody else was there to help. And so I saw pretty soon that the people in the United States are a whole lot sicker mentally than the people in Europe. And they don't even know it. They think this is their way of life or something. They think this is it. This is the wisdom towering or something over us. And they don't even understand that this is severe mental illness, that this is just being completely broken down, just completely splintered. And a complete splintered brain, that's what it is. Crystallized brain, as Dr. Schultz calls it. And so, and I don't know how to get this point across to those people, It's like the ego has latched onto that religion. So it is, it's becoming their identity, and with that they cannot let go, and they will hate anyone who even lives a lifestyle of truth, And they know deep down that it is the truth that I'm saying. And that's why it is so threatening to them. That's why it is so particularly threatening. Because I saw that when someone on the internet, when a crazy fundamentalist has other people arguing against them, and most people are not as polite as I am, and so many of them use the F word, and they don't have even a right argument. They argue from some other ego perspective. Some of them might be Muslims, argue from their crazy religion perspective, which is not much different, okay? Or some atheists who are, I don't know, maybe libertarians. They don't know the full truth either. So not all atheists are libertarians. I'm just saying, I'm using this example now, that from what I observed. But the people who are really mean and potty mouths, they don't get that tremendous hate back from the fundamentalists. The fundamentalists, they hate me more. They hate me more because I'm friendly, because of my lifestyle, because believing in peace, because believing in non-duality. And that, this entire concept, me, peaceful, non-dual, believing in pan-psychism, believing in that what is the truth, all life. There is life brimming around us, and humans want to destroy it. They want to destroy it with their pro-life attitude, which is not pro-life, it's anti-life. It really is completely anti-life. And it is pro-suffering. That's what they should be calling. They should be calling themselves pro-suffering. And so when they see me, they hate my guts because they know deep down that's the truth, what I'm saying. Their inner child knows it. The ego is frightened of it. The ego is frightened of the inner child. The ego is frightened of that vulnerability, that preceded this locking themselves up into a dungeon of religiousness. It's like a cocoon of a cemented in cocoon of crystallized dogmatization. And they are so frightened of anything that's real and that has to do with true love and with kindness and altruism. Even though Christianity there are elements in it that teach altruism, but it teaches with the categorical finger like this. So that's something I don't do. I'm just saying altruism is the truth. But it's not altruism if I put the gun on someone's head and say, become altruistic. No, it doesn't work that way, of course. But I see that Christianity does teach altruism. But I don't even think that the people who wrote the Bible knew what true altruism actually means. True altruism means what you, Mariah, and Andy, and myself, and many other people are doing. That's true altruism. That's what those fundamentalists don't understand. They don't understand that concept at all of true love. They have encapsulated themselves so far away from the truth, from real love, that their entire lives are ridden by ego. It's just, the ego is the one in the driver's seat. And because of that, all that they do and that they create is going backwards. It's so anti-life and so pro-suffering. So the reason why I aborted is because I didn't want these individuals to suffer like I have suffered my whole life. I just didn't want this to happen. Why should I create that? Why do I need to create something like this? I create something like this with my own volition, That's totally irresponsible. That's extremely irresponsible. So why not adopt, Adopt a dog or adopt a child who is already there, And if you pay for that individual, for that child, or if you pay a lot for a dog, then you are not helping, okay? Because then you're paying for a breed. And I've heard that people pay a lot of money to adopt children. That doesn't help the situation on earth, okay, at all. Because by doing that, you just feed this process even more. That people will never have an incentive to stop breeding, dogs or themselves. We have an overpopulation of beings, of domesticated beings, that causes a lot of problems. It's not in the favor of the beings, that's for sure. We have more and more and more and more particularly humans, cluttering this planet. More and more and more and more. So many that we start to have anoxia. We can't even breathe anymore. Literally. I mean, where's this going to lead us? Scientists have warned us about this. They have warned us 40 years ago already. And I know one of them in person. A very, very dear friend of mine. He wrote a book together with someone else for the within the framework of the Club of Rome in order to highlight this problem, this situation. The Club of Rome used to be an organization that brought people together that had expert knowledge and that were brainstorming together to come up with making the world a better place, okay, to bring positive solution, to shed light onto knowledge, onto statistics, and help. But the Club of Rome is not that what it started out to think of itself. No. So I don't know if it is ever really walked its talk, but it certainly isn't today, because they are just as anthropocentric as it gets, and as all of these other fundamentalists religions and greed-based corporations and organizations. So help is not to be expected from them, and it neither is expected from the Rotary Club. I wrote to many of these organizations for help, no response. Or we don't deal with the whalers, something like that. So forget it. It's like there's a handful of people on this planet who do something. Paul Watson, Ingrid Newkirk, Peter Hammarstedt, Fred O'Regan, Elliot Katz, just to name a few. A whole lot more people, awesome people, and they do something, and I love all of them. Pamela Anderson, Alicia Silverstone, and Ellen DeGeneres, and Dan Matthews, so many amazing people. Andy and Mariah and my husband, and so together we can do something, and that's my dream, to do something, to help. I mean, that's why I'm here. If I didn't do something, I would feel like I'm just a burden on earth. So we have to do something. That's our duty, and we want to do it because we feel the love, we feel the altruism. It's not a burden for us, because this is what we live for. Light workers, star children, bodhisattvas. Those are the true bodhisattvas, not those fake bodhisattvas who are philanthropists. Those are not the philanthropists. Are not the bodhisattvas, because the philanthropists are anthropocentric, and that's wrong. That is ethically wrong. I said it. And the Dalai Lama is an anthropocentric person, and that is wrong. Okay, he turned his back on Sea Shepherd. Initially, he was in support of them. Then he sided with the Japanese government, and right there, that was it. He lost my respect. Okay. So unless he reverses that, and unless he comes to his mind and senses and acknowledges that he was wrong. But until he does that, I have no respect for him. How can I respect him? That's just being convenient and uncaring. I'm sorry. And the Buddha, he taught us to be caring. And he also taught us to have humor and love. True humor is true love. So there's no difference between it. You know, if you true humor is also art, true art. You know, a lot of people, they just don't have that humor. They're so locked away in their dogmatizations that they just cannot allow themselves to see it from the perspective of the inner child, because the inner child, they used to be children here. The inner child is supposed to be amazed about animals, flowers, trees, all of this. But many children have already been so damaged that they lock themselves away at a very early age already. And I see this here where we live. I've seen children who have an awfully cold look on their face already. Little children already. This is scary. Yeah, this is very scary. And some people are already born without compassion. So when there's no compassion, there'll be a cold look on the face. I would never put a living being onto this planet. Create that. Create a living being and make him suffer. Yeah. I would never do that. And that's why Dr. David Ben-Arthur argues that it's better to never have existed. And he has very, very good, very rational reasoning for that. And so from what I have read about him and the interviews and whatever I saw so far, I find that very, very almost comforting, you know. And I'm going to get the book after I read this one that I'm reading right now. I'm going to get the book by Dr. David Ben-Arthur. I'm going to read it. Maybe I'll make a video about it later on. So, and I recommend to other people to read it too, because I think it is absolutely critical. It's critical that we begin to truly love. And true love means not being egoic and giving into this need, you know, this self-proliferation need and the greed and all of this. Or some people, they feel like they're not even a real woman or a real man until they have children. You know, that kind of thing. It's all based on ego. The people who are altruistic, the people who live to give, you know, they call them Satan and scum and cripple. I've heard all of this, you know, thrown at me. So, and that's the fact. And so anybody who sees this video, you see that these type of things happen to other people too. And I see a lot of people crying over this on the internet, and just want to tell you I love you. You're not alone. Be strong and don't give in to the establishment. The establishment wants us to cave in to their corporate products, to their cosmetic surgeries, to their clothes, perfumes that are totally toxic, and so on. Medication is being sold to you like a washing powder. So don't cave into it, you know, people. So don't cave into the hate propaganda against Hillary Clinton, and it's all establishment. They want you to cave in they want you to be ashamed, so that you will be too ashamed to be in support of Hillary Clinton. That's how they do. They work with shame, fear. That's what they work with. And they use religion as a vehicle to. The evangelical church has been made to be the partner of the establishment and the corporate agenda. So, and that's why I say, you know, open your eyes, people. Don't cave into it. Don't give into it. And it is good to have abortions. I recommend it. So anyway, that was my video for today. I'm not in a good mood, as you can all tell. But those are also important thoughts that will come up once in a while, and they need to be discussed as well. Life has plus and minus, and there are problems in the world, and we need to once in a while address those. And we also need to talk about the positive things. So it's very important. I just can't do it today because I'm not feeling super positive. But we can't ignore the negative. We need to see the negative, and we need to see what the problem is, and then we need to figure out how we can solve it, and how to go on from there. So to be in denial, to be religious, and this of course I'm saying to the religious people, and that is definitely not the solution, to be in denial about anything. The only way we can solve our problems is if we take full responsibility, and if we tackle the situation frontally on, if we really face it, if we are in acknowledgement of the facts, we see what the problems are, and then we can figure out a strategy to deal with it, and in order to make life better on earth. We need to be rational. Okay, without rationality, there's no way we can function. Someone who has burned their brain away with LSD cannot be rational. And when they cannot be rational, and I've known many people like this that are in their 60s now. Okay, they are finished. Okay, they are finished. They cannot function anymore. They're not in a halfway house, and they suffer miserable lives, partly homeless and all of this, and they need to be in a halfway house. They need to have a nurse 24 hours taking care of them. They need to be protected and cared for. They are vegetables, and that's not being rational. That's not being taken care of. That's not being responsible. So stay away from all of these drugs. That's just, I don't know what else to say. No, stay away from LSD and hallucinogenic drugs, really. And ayahuasca too. Ayahuasca. It's a nice name. Whether it is synthetic or natural, if it's a hallucinogenic drug, it will cause people to become a vegetable. And then they are not rational, and when they're not rational, they cannot function in their lives. It just will not happen. Okay, you have to be rational. You have to see the situation with clarity, and you have to look at it, and you have to see, okay, this is the problem. What do I do to make it better? Okay, how can I improve it? Tony Robbins talks about this, and it's very important what he said. We have to look at the problem, then we have to, instead of dwelling on the problem, we have to think about, so how can we improve it? What can I do? Not what other people can do, Not the government, not the caregivers, okay? What can I do? Peace starts with me. Progress starts with me, okay? It starts with every single person. Every single person has to say that to themselves. This process starts with me. Okay, I have to tackle it. I have to take full responsibility for my life. I have to do it. I have to look at the problems the way they are, not in denial. Okay, I have to draw out of this bullshit religion, or draw out of this idiotic whatever they do. They're taking LSD or whatever, Draw out of it and come to clarity. Detox with sodium bentonite clay. Detox that stuff out and see reality for what it is. And then we can work together. Then we can make this planet a better place. Then we can figure out solutions. And I'm not just guessing this. I know that the solutions are there. They are out there waiting for us to use. Okay, the tools are all laid out there. All tools are laid out there. Okay, there is no more delaying. There is no more excuse. But we can't because of this. But we can't. But because solar is too expensive. Da 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 da. You know, I've heard it all. No more excuses. Solar is not expensive anymore. Okay. All of these things, just to name one example. Okay. We don't have to stay addicted. We don't have to make excuses. I'm addicted, therefore I can't do it. So no more excuses. Sodium bentonite takes the addictions away. So we have to do it. Just do it. You know, when we do it, we get out. You know, yeah, we can be depressed sometimes. Make a video when you're depressed, or write it in a computer. Write it down in a notebook. How you feel. Don't be stuck with it. Don't be stuck with anything. Just move out. Move. Know where the help is. The help is in raw food, fresh raw food. That's where the help is. The help is where there are no pesticides. Be free from pesticides. Pesticides, they make people become demented. Get rid of all of this that fogs up the brain. So the help is out there. Let's do it. There are healing herbs that can be of great help for any kind of detox, transition and stuff. So no more excuses for anything, for anyone, for anybody, including myself. I talk to myself at the same time when I'm making these videos, you know, just pulling myself out from my own bootstraps. So anyway, you guys take care. Mariah, I love you. Bye.